Hey, if you're here, it's because you've reached that point where your current TV just feels like a step behind the experience you actually want. That's exactly where the B5 comes in. This is for the kind of person who notices when colors look washed out, who catches motion that feels hesitant instead of smooth, who knows deep down that every show and every game deserves to look as good as you remember it. Before your brain runs through another comparison loop, check the current price and stock. Good displays at this size and quality don't sit still. There's always that moment when you realize it's time to upgrade. Maybe you watched a dark scene where shadows swallowed detail. Maybe sports felt blurry when the action sped up. Maybe you sat down and thought, I know this should look better. That's not frustration, that's clarity. It's the realization that you've outgrown compromise. The very first time you switch to the B5, the difference hits you like relief. Blacks don't just go dark, they anchor the picture. Motion doesn't smear, it flows. Colors have depth instead of flat saturation. You stop adjusting picture settings and start living in the story. That's the difference between settling and being immersed. In real-world use, this changes how your room feels. Movie nights actually feel cinematic because detail stays rich and layered. Fast action games feel lively instead of muddled because motion stays confident even when things speed up. Sports scenes stay sharp longer. Even everyday shows look more polished because the panel doesn't gloss over nuance, it reveals it. And it doesn't feel like you're chasing numbers on a spec sheet. It feels like confidence. Every scene behaves like it's meant to be seen this way. Once you experience that level of clarity and motion together, anything weaker starts to feel like yesterday. If you're even halfway curious, don't wait for stock works or dreamy pricing hopes. TVs at this performance level get noticed fast. You might wonder if this is really worth it for normal TV time. That doubt fades fast when you start noticing texture and shadows, richness and color, and motion that feels controlled instead of soft. What you thought was sharp suddenly looks flatter in comparison. Here's something most people don't expect: you start watching differently. You catch details you never saw before. You feel the intention behind every frame instead of just seeing it. That's subtle, but powerful. Every scene feels intentional. Not washed out. Motion stays fluid even in fast action. Color feels rich without oversaturation. Your room feels more cinematic than ever. Watching feels immersive instead of passive. It takes thoughtful placement to really shine, and premium experience deserves premium consideration. Eventually, the comparison loop ends. You realize you already knew what you wanted. That's when hesitation fades and clarity takes over. If you've outgrown good enough and want a screen that actually matches the way you watch, this is the upgrade that rewards you every time you turn it on. Check availability, trust that instinct that brought you here, and enjoy owning a display that finally feels like a real step forward.